This week's podcast is about a blender and bottler with over 300 years of history called Berry Brothers and Rudd. In 1698, the widow only known by the name Bourne established a shop at number 3 St. James Street. So let's take a ride through the streets of London and learn more. Bourne was a widow and a mother with at least 2 daughters, but only her last name is known, Bourne. The widow Bourne established a grocer's in the prestigious neighborhood opposite St. James's Palace, which in that year became the official principal residence of the monarch. Over 3 centuries later, with 2 royal warrants and 6 masters of wine, the family business continues to flourish, with its heart still very much at number 3. Welcome to Savor Whiskey. I'm not selling and I'm not yelling. I'm here to introduce you to the good life to settle your ass down and make you appreciate the wonderful world of whiskey travel and life's joy. So let's plain and simply talk about the oldest bottler and blender of spirits in the known world, Berry Brothers and Rudd. The widow Bourne's daughter Elizabeth married William Pickering in 1734, and their family continued to run the business. As the Pickerings supplied the newly fashionable coffee houses of St. James Street, it is unsurprising that the shop chose an image linked to this prestige commodity, back then coffee, as the sign of their business. To this day, Berry Brothers and Rudd still trades under the sign of the coffee mill, an image that has remained outside the shop for centuries. It was in the time of William Jr. and John Clark that the famous grocers' weighing scales began to be used to weigh the shop's many notable customers, a fashionable pastime that continues to this day. George Clark, William's grandson, became a successful merchant and increasingly focused on wine. Wine would have always been sold at number 3, but George's family background, coupled with the changing taste of the time, explain a shift towards wines and spirits. 2 of George Berry's sons, George Jr. and Henry, took over in 1845. Today, the shop still bears the name of these original Berry brothers. The Rudd family joined the Berrys at a crucial point in the early 20th century. Hugh Rudd came from a family of wine merchants in Norwich, established by his grandfather in 1851. Before World War I, he worked for the family business and abroad, partnering a great love of Bordeaux with a deep knowledge of German wines. When he returned from fighting, Norwich had ceased to be an active center for the wine trade, and so he moved to London to join the Berry family. The 1920s was an exciting time for the company. When Prohibition was established in America, Berry Brothers products became in great demand in the Bahamas, a popular stop for smugglers. Cutty Sark Scotch whiskey was invented in 1923 with an iconic label designed by Scottish artist James McBay. This whiskey became hugely popular in the American market and was to be one of the company's most successful products. The second half of the 20th century saw the Berry Brothers and Rudd consolidate their position as world-famous wine and spirits merchants. The success of Cutty Sark Scotch whiskey was also a constant theme during this time, particularly in the 1960s and 70s. Berry Brothers and Rudd continued to be famous for their Clare Ray and Burgundy, and sold to many of the same families that had come to the shop for generations. In 1967, Berry Brothers and Rudd broke with tradition and became the first independent wine merchant to build temperature-controlled wine cellars. Nowadays, these cellars hold 8.5 million bottles of company and customers' wine, worth millions of pounds. Some traditions still remain, however. Berry Brothers and Rudd continued to bottle wine themselves until the 1960s, with the last bottle of sherry bottled at Basingstoke in the 1990s. In 1998, 2 years before the start of a new century, Berry Brothers and Rudd celebrated 300 years in business. The run-up to the 300th anniversary celebrations was marked in 1997 with the award of Berry Brothers and Rudd's second royal warrant by His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. Today, with 2 royal warrants and over 300 years of history with 3 masters of wine, Berry Brothers and Rudd are Britain's original wine and spirits merchant. While they have embraced progress, traditions are also valued. Everyone is welcome to the Widow Bourne shop by the palace, whether they want 1 bottle or a cellarful. The shop is still run by members of the Berry and Rudd families, and they continue to supply the British royal family, as they have done since the reign of King George III. Okay, let's talk about their blended sherry cask malt whiskey. Berry's sherry cask matured blended malt Scotch whiskey is bottled at 44.2% and retails around £30 a bottle. Let's do a tasting. Starting on the nose, I'm getting raisins and currants, orange marmalade and a touch of sulfur. I'm smelling some charred oak, a little dark chocolate, caramel, and red berries. This smells wonderful. In the mouth there is Jamaican ginger cake, raisins, and cinnamon. Wait now, there's more. Burnt caramel and maple syrup. Oak and overbrewed tea. It's simply luscious. This wonderful blended malt whiskey lingers with a nice finish of Christmas cake notes remaining for minutes. Thanks for listening. Remember to savor whiskey and don't drink and drive. And don't forget to leave those childish ways behind. Life is about passionate living. It's not about you. Good food, fine whiskey, and great people make you worthy of it all. I'm Carl Cimini for Savor Whiskey. For more information, please visit Savor Whiskey on Facebook or at the website savorwhiskey.com to find out about Scotland, whiskey, and tastings in your area. And always remember, savor whiskey with friends and thusly, savor the good life.